This is Matt Doherty, and you're listening to Du Bois Podcast.
The Pinkmeister! The Rabble Rouser! Passing the buck over to Jesse Rudy! The Enforcer! Oh, ouch! Ooh, that hurt! Oh, it's the Caddy Meister! The Velvet Hammer! Bada swing, bada bada bam, bada bada hum, bada swing,
Haverman.
bada bada hum.
It's hockey. There's no batter. Idiot.
Hum, goalie, 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 hum, goalie, goalie, hum, goalie, goalie, hey, goalie, 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 save, goalie, 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 hum, goalie, goalie, hey, goalie, 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 hum, goalie.
Haverman, let's go! Come on! But, Quack Attack is back, Jack!
You listen up, and you listen up good. We're here for one reason, and one reason only. You know what that is? It starts with a W.
To win, Coach Orion, sir.
No. To work. It's gonna take one thing. Starts with a W.
To work, Coach Orion, sir!
Wrong. Will.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Boys Podcast. Today, I'm joined by an amazingly talented actor. What is your name, sir?
I'm Matt Doherty.
So, now that things are opening up, what have you been up to? You know, how have you been?
That's a great question. Let me. Well, Joey, what have I been up to? Staying safe, staying sane, staying sanitized. All the three S's. It's exciting and scary to get out and enjoying the living again. And it's I think it's taken us a long time to adjust to this life. So I'm being, trying to be kind and considerate toward myself and others as we get out, because I think everybody's got a little different metric on it. I heard somebody make a joke that anyone who's like more paranoid than me is a ridiculous jerk, and anyone who's less is a crazy fool. So it's like everybody's got a little different sense of what that is, and I'm just trying to just accept. We got to go out and get tacos last night, and it felt great. It's in LA. I live in Los Angeles, so when you make our city, if you've watched a lot of food shows and stuff on TV, they do food trucks a lot in LA, and the street taco is like a thing. So it was really cool to go out and just have street tacos last night.
Nice. Yeah, see, during my quarantine, I believe around the beginning, graduated virtually high school. So I did that.
Yeah. So you literally went to school while on this thing.
Yeah. And then I just started doing these podcast interviews to help spread positivity during these tough and negative times,
It's a good way to go to act and spread the stuff that you want to see.
Yeah. And if you know, are you familiar with Downers Grove South?
Sure.
That's
yeah.
where I went. That's where I went.
I used to compete against Downers Grove South all the time when in speech.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys were the legends of the North, and we used to think y'all were like the rich kids on the North Side, and we would want to knock you down. So yeah.
Wow, you know the school. I see you.
I know Downers Grove South for sure. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Now, what made you want to become an actor, and did you have an inspiration for acting?
Well, that's a great question. Did I have an inspiration for acting? Well, I don't think I knew. I was just 9 or 10 years old, and memory's funky. You can remember things so accurately, and then have them not be true, especially the older you get, and you start to frame stories. But I think it's pretty accurate that I did a play when I was in school at 9 years old, and I played Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
And I think I remember it was Hound of the Baskervilles, and it was the truncated 20-minute, 30-minute version of it, and we were doing it for English class, and all the parents came, and I got to play Sherlock, and I remember I just somehow intuitively knew how to imitate some British stuff. I made a fake pipe. I borrowed 2 hats and turned them upside down, and back and forth so I could have one forward and one back because that's what I thought, Sherlock Holmes did. And I borrowed my dad's trench coat, which was like never worn. It was like the thing in the back of the closet that, that stuff way in the back that like needed to get, spark. It didn't spark joy, as they say on the show these days. And it was really big for me. And I just remember being in front of these parents and stuff, and we're doing the play, and none of us remembered any of our lines, and somehow we were making a mess. And I think we were making everybody laugh. And I tripped. I kept tripping over this huge trench coat. And it was making everybody, no, that's the point. It was making everybody laugh. And I didn't know why. And then I realized, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I saw an article in the paper. I don't know why. Again, I don't know why I was reading a newspaper, but I was reading the Chicago Tribune, and there was a column, or I don't know if there still is, but when you open up the main section of the Tribune, there's what they call the ink column. And I think I read it because it was small, and I saw my folks do it, and it would be like little news and blurbs, and so it was my way of reading a newspaper without actually having to read it, and I saw there was a little thing for like, we need redheads to come into the city for an audition. And I had really red hair. And I was like, I don't know what this is. And I just acted, and I told my mom, I said, I want to go to this thing. And I don't know where it came from, but I just did. And then I think the only reason we went was because her and her best friend wanted to go to Water Tower Place, to go to the mall, which had like just opened up, right? So it's like, so the only reason we went to this audition was because my mom wanted to go shopping off of Michigan Avenue.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
Damn. The legendary.
I met a very, very famous director, producer, you might not know, but at the time was legendary, and still is in my mind, Gary Marshall, who produced in Happy Days, and him and his sister Penny Marshall were legends of comedy. And it was a movie called Overboard with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. And it was a great movie, actually. And so somehow I kept getting called back. We were there all day, and then I met Gary Marshall the next day, and I was really nervous, and he told me to stand on my head because I said I did gymnastics. And he said, "You're funny, kid." Because again, I like fell and I made a mess of myself, and then he's like, "You're funny, kid. Get an agent." So we literally looked up the first alphabetical one we found in the phone book, in the Chicago Yellow Pages. And then I booked my first audition, and just kind of have been doing it ever since.
Damn, the legendary career of Matt Doherty.
Well, I just think sometimes they choose you,
Oh, I like that. That's really cool. Now, is there did you have like a favorite actor? Like when you watched TV as a kid, is there like an actor?
Oh yeah. I think the reason I did all that was because I watched Michael J. Fox. I mean, I love the Back to the Future stuff, and I loved it, I just kind of was like, he's this dorky little guy, and I was like, he's still got the girl and all that stuff, and I was like, he's and he just seemed like the best ever. And then I watched Family Ties, and I was like, this guy's the best actor ever, and I was like, I want to do what he does. And so yeah, he was one of my favorites when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I told you too, believe it or not, I interviewed an actress that was in Back to the Future.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I interviewed in part 1, the first Jennifer, Claudia Wells.
Oh yeah, for sure. She's a talent, yeah.
Well, what is your favorite role they portrayed?
Well, my favorite would be it's a really good question. I mean, I don't think when I was in college, and then afterwards, I'd say that's a really good question. Gosh, the one I'm working on usually is the answer. I think most of us we like to work, so whatever it is usually like the favorite, But I got to play this really super villain in a comedy that still hasn't been released yet, but it was really great, and it was really fun to play a super villain. I think there's been different gifts. Like I remember one time I got to beat out. It was for like a TV show, and there was I think it was called Dark Blue, and it was all a bunch of gunslingers, and there were these cops that were trying to find illegal guns, and it was a Dylan McDermott show or something. And I got to play one of the muscle guys on it, and I beat out a bunch of dudes that were like 250 pounds and huge. And I for me love when I can beat a type. So as an actor, when like you go for a thing and they think they want something, and then you just do something that is different. And so for some reason, like personally, I felt really good that because I was like, if a little guy my size is the muscle, he's probably pretty terrifying. So there's got to be something wrong about that guy. So I really loved the fact that I got to do that, because it was like I got to do a stunt, and it's just this tiny little gig, and got me my healthcare that year, which is other factors that, like, you ask a question like that, and sometimes things are like you get a job at a time in your career where you really need it, and it helps you get your healthcare or something. And then other times you do experiences where you get to travel and see things that you never would be able to see. And so those memories are favorite. And then there's just the joy of working with people like Mighty Ducks. I mean, come on, we did 3 of them, and it would change my life. So that would be up there. But at the same time, so would like doing a play in college at the end of my college time, where I got to play in a really classic Irish play, and one of my favorite roles of all time, and it's called Translations. It's a very beautiful Irish play. Or I got to go and do a play at Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago, and I got to meet Kurt Vonnegut. So it's like you ask a question like that, and so many things come to mind. I've been really blessed in that department.
Like that. I hope you know I think you're very talented.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, if you don't mind, can you say a quote from the Mighty Ducks, like the Pete Meister or bad? I can't like do the quote good.
Well, I know lately the Quack Attack is Back Jack has been really popular, so that's the one I've been doing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from Ducks too, because it seems like because of this show, that's what's going on.
Yeah, because I remember you said that to Guy. You said that because you were trying to get Connie and Guy.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah. Now, do you remember that by heart? The bad. I can't do it by heart, but
I think mostly you guys remember it way more than me, man. I just it seems to be really more famous than anything. So
yeah, all good. Okay. Now, how does it feel to reprise your role in Game Changers? How did that feel? Reprise your.
I mean, it just was great to be able to go and play. I was making a joke with some of my friends and my lady that like I just was excited to play hockey. It's like you let off like, "Hi, how you doing?" How was the pandemic? And nothing's been going on, right? So it was nice to be able, like, I missed playing hockey with the guys I play with. So my literally first thought was, wow, free ice time. And because they have their own rink, and like I know the show built because it's so expensive to rent a huge place and then to be able to control it for how you want to control a TV set, that they literally built their own ice rink into a studio. So like the idea of being able to play was just so exciting to me. To get out on the ice, that was the first thought, and then which was great, and to be able to like, I really wanted to skate with the Nuke Ducks. Like there was just something about the idea of that moment of change where you get to, like, I was just being able to be present to the experience of like, how often do you get to do something in life where they do something and then they do 3 of them and then they make a movie and then they make another, like they make a hockey team from it, and then the hockey team wins the Stanley Cup, and then they make a TV show. I mean, how often do you get to do that? So to me, I was just trying to be present and really appreciate the experience, and to be able to hang out with the guys and the gals I grew up with in a lot of ways, the other Ducks.
Yeah.
And mostly when you do a gig, it's you're in and out, or you don't get the time because things move. Even though there's long days and you're on a set, and you can be there for like 15 hours or whatever it is, but like you usually like you don't have this time. And because of the pandemic, and we had this extra time where we were quarantining and no one could go anywhere, that the real gift was being able to just be with these people who we all got to have a similar experience. And so that was like such a gift. And then to be able to spend time with Emilio, who, changed our lives and for so many ways. And, we got to just reconnect as adults. I mean, all of these things were just really incredible.
Well, it's really cool. I hope Game Changers comes back for season 2.
Yeah, I heard it's been a really it's been a big hit, and I hear people. I know everybody that were responsible for making it were super wanting to get it right, out of respect for how many fans there are all over the world, and it was really important that they find that sweet spot and also try to invigorate a new generation, which it seems like is happening. It seems like there's a lot of kids that love this show. So,
Oh, how if you could pick like any role in like any movie or TV show, is there a certain role you want to do, like a mystery, a time travel, I don't know, any type of story?
That's a great question. I don't know. See, I think I spend most of them, even though I'm famously, or I'm known, I'm not famous. I know famous people. I'm recognized and known for being an actor. Most of my life is spent writing. So I like writing for other actors. It's, I've been doing this for 33 years or whatever it is, 34 years. It's, a lot of us who grew up doing this, you kind of realize you want a little more, and your true calling is something different. I love still acting, and I do it, especially when fun opportunities show up. I think my answer to that, if it regards to acting, is if it's a really fun project that makes people, like I love Mel Brooks movies. I love things like that. I love... So if there was like people who were of that ilk, and making fun projects where everybody gets to, where they get through a take without laughing, like that kind of joy, I love, and that could be, those are satires, those are comedies, and those things are just so much fun. And then also I think I kind of want to be in a Western. I've always wanted to be in a Western, and so that would be the answer to that. And then other than that, I just love writing things for other people. It brings me a lot of joy, and I think I got into it because it's extremely challenging, and I love the challenge of it all. And I've worked really hard to get good at it, and in an efficient way, and find my own voice. So that seems to be my real calling.
Wow. Well, and then Back to the Future Part 3 isn't it like a Western?
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I had to pick a particular thing, I say I kind of want to be in a Western. But I want to play like this like small part in it, where like you get to be in New Mexico for like 3 months and you work 8 days. Like that's my sweet spot, man.
Wow. And now, if I told you, believe it or not, for a hobby, you said you write. I actually write scripts as a hobby.
There you go. There you go.
It's fun, like making characters, writing stories,
That's how I got started, when I was a little younger than you.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, now, over the years of your career, do you still keep in touch with co-stars, directors, etc.? You still?
Yeah, I've had to learn. I recently this year has been giving me a great gift, because we're in this time where there's a little more time, or we're rediscovering things, or I know I'm rediscovering things I either forgot that I loved, or looking at things I'm like, why am I doing that anymore? And so I know everybody's going through some form of that, which is when we're all back together and chatting and hanging out, and people, I think we're gonna find those things are really similar. But I I've been able to reconnect with a lot of people this year. Like every week, I'll try to like pick somebody out I've lost touch with, and who was important to me at some point or another. Like there was a director in college who was an MFA person who really spotted me and saw me before I really knew who I was as an artist, and like I just sent her a letter and I was like, I really I miss, you know, we were like so in touch, and then life got busy, and so I like every week I try to like do that, and like I got to have a coffee with a buddy, same thing, you know, you people you come up with, and just to be able to share some time together and watch his films that he's made and hear his story about how hard it is to make a short film, and then, you know, going around on the festivals and like to really support and all that, like that kind of stuff is like it I spent a little while where I didn't do that, and I got tunnel vision with what was in front of me, and so lately I've been like really enjoying reconnecting with different people in my life who were important to me.
Wow, I like that. Okay, now who is the coolest person you've worked with? The coolest.
The coolest. How are you defining coolest? Because I've met so many different people. Give me a little more specific. What do you think?
Like you had an awesome experience. Like they were awesome to hang out with. Talk. They were nice down there. Oh. I
would say, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is Emilio for sure. Emilio Estevez, or Estevez as they popularly say. He's definitely one of the best. He's taught me how to be and how to behave and how to treat everybody equally, and he's definitely up there. I would say, in terms of like famous people and stuff like that, I mean, I got to meet and work with Al Pacino for a day. That was pretty special. That was pretty special. And I got to trip over his chair and almost fall into his lap. Again, there's a lot. Now I'm realizing I'm like such a fool, man. I'm like every big moment in my life, I'm falling over something. Yeah, that was
that explains it. You know.
Yeah, that was a pretty great experience because it also had a legendary person named Estelle Parsons, and Estelle's won an Academy Award, or I don't know if she won, but she was nominated for Bonnie and Clyde, which is a classic film of, you know, Gene Wilder, Faye Dunaway, you know, Gene Hackman. There's what a cast. Warren Beatty, obviously, and the late great Michael Pollard, who was a friend of mine. So I got to meet a lot of them, like being able to hang with Michael Pollard, who was a legendary character actor, nominated for an Academy Award, and to call him a friend before he died, even though he was like in his 70s, and we would hang out, and then spend a day with Estelle Parsons, who, you know, because I was a member of the Actors Studio, so I got to meet a lot of people like that. Like I got to meet Carl Malden.
Okay.
This legend of, you know, he debuted and premiered plays like Death of a Salesman, which I'm sure you might have read in high school. And, you know, I got to meet him once, and I got to meet, so many, I think Wayne Gretzky, you know, like things like Ducks allowed for a lot of those things. That was really amazing. And then sometimes you make you know, experiences and friendships with people over time too. And but yeah, the list is endless.
Well, when you say Al Pacino, I think of like, say hello to my little friend.
Exactly. That guy.
That's what I think of when you say Al Pacino right away. Okay. Now, what director taught you the most? Is there a director you want to work with eventually, like a Spielberg, Scorsese, like anybody you want to work with and all that?
You know, I mean, I wish some of my favorite filmmakers of all time are no longer here. So like, it's hard for me not to say Hal Ashby or George Roy Hill. I've known people who were in George Roy films, which are like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting and these classic films. And so he was always one of my favorite directors of all time. And Hal Ashby did a movie called, Harold and Maude, and he did Being There. So those two come to mind. I got to meet Mel Brooks once, so he came and spoke at a screening of The Producers, and I and chatted for an hour and a half about Gene Wilder. So
Wow.
I mean, Mel Brooks. I think if I had to have my list, I can never pronounce his name, but that crazy, wonderful New Zealand guy, oh God, that whole crew that did.
Wahidi. I don't want to butcher that.
He's the legend. He's my go. Like, as a writer, I would chew on my left shoe to get my work in front of him. I think him and the whole team they have down there, they're legendary. I think there's so many. And then also, like, when you ask that question, I think the way I want to also answer it is, I know so many people who aren't household names. And I know, and we live in a society and in a time where in any business, there's this like 95, there's this accumulation of wealth or attention or power or perspective to like 3 people. I don't care, we're just, things are out of balance. So, and as somebody who's in that 97%, who, like, I want to work with people who are the next Scorseses. I don't need to be, that feels like an ego thing. Like, I don't want to, all due respect for a legend, but I kind of want to meet the next Tarantino. I want to work with that 22, 28, 30-year-old kid, girl, guy, doesn't matter. There's so many filmmakers of different colors and different backgrounds who are never had an opportunity, and they could be the next Beethoven. They could be the next, and like, for me, those people excite me more than these names we call attention to that I think sometimes, I don't know, I just feel like it's out of balance.
Well,
so I want to meet the Scorsese of 1978 when he's, like, I think of the Safdie brothers, who are these incredible filmmakers. They did a movie called it was Adam Sandler was in it, and they've done 2 great films, and like them, like these people, uncut gems, there's, and what's funny is I think Scorsese kind of like shine the light on them, right? But like, there's so many people all over the world, there's filmmakers, and oh my God, New Zealand has so many great filmmakers, and like, I want to know, I want to meet them.
Yeah, if I ever get I don't want to butcher the guy's last name, but Wikiki.
Yeah.
If I ever get him, I'll let you know. I'll be like, hey, you want Troy to talk to?
To me, that's the modern day, Mel Brooks in a lot of ways. Yeah. And I want to know, because we're living in this really great time where, a lot of finally, I mean, my God, it's taken so long, where women and women of color and are being able to get the exposure, more than the exposure, the investment that they need to do these films, because things take money and time, and like, I want to know what comes. I think it's going to be a super exciting time going forward for the next few years, and I can't wait to see. I think maybe 10 years from now we'll be like, man, that's the Scorsese, that's the and that's the, all these long lists of filmmakers.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you weren't an actor, what would your career be, and what hobbies do you have besides acting? What hobbies?
If I couldn't act or write, I would my lady's over here laughing. People who know me, like, they know, like, I couldn't stop writing even if I tried. Mm-hmm. So it's like, which is always what I say to young people, and if they want to get into the thing, where, if, like, you got to really love to do this thing, right? Yeah. So So my answer to that is I don't think I could. I would probably work for the forestry for like out in the for a forestry service or something like that, or national parks or something.
Oh, now, is there any hobbies you have, or just writing?
The outdoors for sure, and hockey, and I love to cook, and I like learning things. And I like challenge. Like every year I try to do something that's like a little out of my comfort zone and that feels frightening and scary. Like most performers, they love to do shit like that. So that's how I got into like climbing mountains and stuff. And then or like taking meditation courses, and so I generally I just try to stay curious. So
Wow. Okay. Now, do you have a favorite band and type of music?
oh yeah, I play music. Oh my god, I forgot about that. I'm like I've been a finger picking good. I'm like a really good guitar player. I forgot. I've been playing the finger pick guitar for many years. I love bluegrass. I love like gypsy jazz. I love jazz. I love rock and roll. I got into all of that because I fell in love with the Bob Dylan and the Grateful Dead stuff when I was about your age. So that introduced me to like all the Americana music, like blues, and then I went down the blues road. And yeah, I mean, music's a big part of my life. Yeah.
Let's hear some music. I'm just kidding. It's up to you.
Well, I'm not gonna play now, but you can go and check me out. I might have a record on Spotify under my name, and it's called Dignity. And you'll see there's a photo of you'll see like an old black and white photo, and you just type my name and Dignity. And then I also on my website on mattdoherty.net, there's a bunch of links to the music there too.
Well, now I gotta listen to your music. That's cool. I gotta listen to your music. Okay. Now, do you have favorite sports and favorite teams?
I mean, come on, we both share the White Sox, right?
Yeah, go Sox.
Yeah. I love the White Sox. Yeah. I live sports this year has meant so much to me in terms of my sanity and a sense of normalcy. And I love hearing Jason and Steve. I love Jason Benetti. I think he's I love that the White Sox organization is in the city of Chicago. It keeps me connected to home. And even though now, like, I can't say I'm from Chicago anymore because I'm from the suburbs. So I guess, like, whenever you're outside of Chicago, you say you're from Chicago. But then, like my friend Dominic's like, yeah, you're not from Chicago. It's like, so, but the White Sox. And then if it weren't the White Sox, I'd say I was in the middle of watching Leeds play, and they're a soccer team in England. So I love English Premier League soccer. And of course I love hockey, Blackhawks. And then I do cheer for the Ducks because I love what they're about as an organization. And I think they're as who they are and just my affiliation with them. And they're an underdog.
Yeah. Now, do you have a favorite current and all-time White Sox player?
Harold Baines.
Harold Baines?
Yeah. Oh, I grew up. He was my favorite player when I was a kid. But if I mean, who doesn't like Your Mean? I mean, I have Nicky Madrigal right here, and I have Your Mean Mercedes the Yerminator right here. So if I don't know if that does it, I like Nicky because Nicky's Nicky Two Strikes, because I'm a little guy, and I'm an underdog, so I cheer for the underdogs. When I played ball, I was always trying to slap the ball forward, so I love the way Nicky plays. So he's one of my favorite current White Sox.
I know you collect sports cards. I know.
Oh yeah.
That's a hobby too. I actually collect. I have like boxes and boxes and boxes of cards.
Hobbies are important in the creative life. If anyone's going to do anything in the creative arts, because so much of our lives, and I'm sure some of the people that might be listening to this are, maybe they're young and they're wanting to do this. Like getting a big, full, rich life is really important to survive the ups and downs of. And so how much of our life is left where no matter who you are, I don't care if you're Spielberg, you're not going to get final decisions. So you're always going to be incumbent to others, no matter how much power you have in this industry. So there's so inevitably you could be working on something for years, and then there's like this insane pause, and you're waiting, and you don't know if it's going to happen, and you deal with thousands % more rejection and highs than kind of like a civilian would. So like to get a full rich life of things that bring you joy is something I wish they would teach more to in colleges and in universities where they're training the arts, like being able to like fill your life up is so key, because otherwise, because if you get success, which is fleeting and different than achievement, it's, I mean, God, it's nothing to do with you most of the time. It's just you got lucky or whatnot, and like it can make you feel bigger than you are, right? And then if you find those times when you're like no one's calling your name, or we say as an actor, I can't get arrested, right? Which is a saying, like you can't even get an audition. Like having a life that is that you've built for yourself and you've nurtured is so key. So when you ask about hobbies and things like that, like I don't know an actor, or a writer, or a director who doesn't do things like garden and all. And if they didn't do it when they were young, then because it's so key for when huge decisions that could define the fate of your career are being made, and you're like, you know what? I got this stuff I got to do. It really helps.
Now, since you collect sports cards, is there like a guy you want like a card of that you don't even have a card of that you want a card of? That makes sense.
That's a great question. I kind of dig the my buddies, I have these two buddies of mine that we're all on card stuff together, and like they're all about getting the stuff and getting the like hot PSA stuff, and I got a couple of those. I got the Phil Foden out of London, and and I all the hot cards, and but I kind of prefer those like Hall of Famers, like from the 70s and 80s and 60s, and like getting, it doesn't have to be their most expensive card, but like I love like an Eddie Murray card from like 1980 or something, or getting like a Raleigh Fingers card. He's got that huge mustache, It's like I kind of like finding, like I know like they were doing that like what are the most beautiful cards, and like there's that one with Kobe and Shaq, or I think it's Kobe and LeBron, right? And it's I guess it's like a really expensive card, but it's really it's not the lengthwise, it's the two of them on the card, and it's such an awesome card. It's so expensive. And then like there's a really great 86 Flair sticker where like you can see Magic's in the background getting stuffed by somebody else, and like those cards where like there's a moment happening, and like it doesn't have to be the most expensive card, even though those 86 Flairs are really expensive right now, but like there's something about, there's just a coolness to it,
Yeah. Well, I think I might have one of those. I got you, okay?
Oh yeah.
If you want them.
I mean, if you know what I'm talking about, and you want to send me one of those cool cards, I'm all for it.
I got you, bro. Yeah. Fellow hobby collector, fellow card collector here,
Yeah, right. It's good.
You know where it's at.
I can't stress, and I mean that's what this year has taught us, right? Do the things that bring you joy. There's I got the reprint one of but like the good reprint one of the Jordan rookie. I think I love my Ricky Henderson rookie the most. I don't know of the cards I have. It's like beat up, but it was like one of the first ones I got as a kid that like it was from like my older brothers, and I saved it. And I saved that, and I saved the Harold Baines rookie. So they're not in great condition, but like I've had them.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so like, and I guess my dad had a bunch, and that he always kicks himself about not of all the stuff that he had that he lost over the years. Because those were in like the 50s, and like like you're talking like the legendary cards, man.
I got you though. Got you, man. And believe it or not, like I'm a big like sport collector like you. Do you know who Matt Ryan is with the Falcons?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I must have like 300 different cards of him.
He'll be a Hall of Famer.
I've actually had like 300, like they're all different. cards, and it's like you should see it. It's like you'd be like, holy crap, Joe. You know?
Yeah, I love. I've been gathering a couple more of the 85 Bear cards too, because that's like when I was a baby, but or just a little kid when that happened, 7 years old. So that was a huge, like being able to, like the Richard Danton, Mongo, and all those are legendary. That's a legendary Chicago thing too.
I've also, like you mentioned it. I actually interviewed an 85 Bear player on the podcast.
Oh yeah, who?
Willie Galt, Speedy
Oh
Willie.
my God, Willie Galt. Willie Galt was also an Olympian, right?
Yes, wow, you know it. Yeah, and he's also an actor now. You got it.
Yeah, he's legend, man.
Yeah. Now, what is your favorite? Sorry, I asked this. What is your favorite food, and why is it your favorite?
It's great. Oh man. Oh boy, that's a tough one. I love food. What is my favorite food and why? I mean, that's God, that's tough. I think it's interesting. I kind of want to say. I kind of want to say red peppers. I think red peppers real well, like no, like like the actual, like not the like hot ones.
The crushed red pepper? Like crushed?
No, just like your classic, your green pepper that's a little more ripe, right? It's just there's a great taste to it. You can use it in so many different things. It's funny how when you first asked that question, I went to a lot of vegetables, which is interesting. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't go to a meal because you didn't ask what was your favorite meal, right? So that's different. Like that's your because I think most of us would say like something we had when we were a kid. Like they ask a bunch of chefs, what's your favorite meal? And it's like often the thing they had when they were a kid, right? Yeah. But I don't know. I went to vegetables. Like I went to squash. I went to, but the other side of it is I love licorice. So that would be a thing. Like I love Swedish fish and like the red licorice and shit. Yeah.
Okay. Now, hopefully when things get back, like they're getting back to normal, do you have any like projects in the works? Anything going on?
Yeah, that's half the reason why I'm like always about doing things that I can do and reading and learning and growing, and because there's when you create content and you write stuff that other people have to hunt down other people to invest insane amounts of money in, that takes time. So under normal conditions. So I have a whole bunch of stuff that is years in the making that seems to be all kind of catching what we say traction. So it's an exciting time, and there's a play of mine that's being looked at a very high level. There's a TV show that I'm that I'm made some progress on, and then there's a couple of film projects and another play so I've been writing for many, many years, and so these things are all kind of like getting closer to the starting line, and things take time. So yeah.
Now, what advice would you give people who want to become an actor or an actress? What's your advice?
What I already said about getting a rich, full life, and always bet on yourself. I think it took me a long time to realize that simple thing. I think a lot of us don't, to push your chips in on you. I think most of us who have made a life of this did it because we didn't have a backup plan.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Good advice.
There's a wisdom to that, and then at the same time, like who you are or what you do along the way isn't who you are. I've made six figures in a year when I was a teenager, and I've also been a cab driver and mixed concrete. So that there's nothing fixed. That like life, and especially a creative life, it can be a roller coaster. So, but it's a great roller coaster. Roller coasters are awesome. Who doesn't love roller coasters? But if you don't like roller coasters, then you might want to do something else with your life, because you're just going to clog up the freeways out in LA or the train stops in New York. So that's always my thing. When I do teach, I kind of go on the side of like, hey, if you're not happy doing this in the church basement, then the roads are clogged. Go do something else.
Now, is there anything like you like to promote and shout out that can help you out? Like if I could link it down below, anything you want to promote?
Well, like I said, anybody can go to my website at mattdoherty.net. You can follow me on Instagram at Archie Doman. That's ARCHIE DOHMAN. I usually post a bunch of stuff on there, and then other than that, I can't really talk about some of the things I'm building because just know that there's stuff in the way, and then check out Game Changers. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, and Matt, for being an awesome and amazing guest.
Oh, my pleasure, Joey. Thanks for having me. You give great questions, dude. I can tell you thought this through. So really, it's easier.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody, and stay awesome, Matt.